only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine.
Yeah, I'm John Moody and I live in Junction City, Oregon, and so I just want to share my wife and I's story. And just forgive me if I cry because it happened with my son on July 1st, 3:30 in the morning. We got a call from my daughter-in-law and she said, "Dad," she said, "Troy's gone." And so just in that moment, my mind went to, well, I knew they didn't argue or didn't fight to my knowledge, so I couldn't understand what she meant that he was gone, so I thought maybe that he'd gotten a pickup and left the house or something. And she said, "Dad, Troy's gone. There's been an accident. He was killed." And so at that moment, I had to tell my wife, and it was one of the worst, what we thought might have been a nightmare that we've ever had in our life. And then my responsibility as a dad was to call his 3 brothers. And so I called Lee and Doug and John and told them that Troy had died, and so that and Christy, his wife, was at Leeburg Fire Station, and that's where they had taken him. They had been camping up at Blue River, and there had been an accident and he got killed. So my wife and I got in the pickup and went to Blue River and met her, and then we with the sheriffs, we couldn't understand why there was a sheriff there, but evidently we found out at that time that he'd been shot. And then that, of course, that goes through your head, like, was he messing around with a gun or what happened? And so they said he was shot in the leg, and that he had it had hit a main artery, and so they weren't able to stop the bleeding. And so anyway, we went to the campsite with the sheriff's department, and they said it was a crime scene, and because it was a crime scene that we couldn't enter it right at that time. And we found out that his best friend had accidentally shot him, and his best friend's name is Josh Montez. And so anyway, after the sheriff left, it was my responsibility and my younger son's responsibility to take down the campsite. And while we were taking down the tent, there was a whole bunch of blood all over the ground. And I looked at that blood, and I just wanted to grab it and rub it all over me because it was on top of leaves, and that was my son's blood. And right at that time, Jesus spoke to me and said, "My blood ran off the cross and onto the ground just like that to cover your sins and cover Troy's sins. And that's why Troy's with me." And that gave me so much peace at that moment, because I knew that Troy loved Jesus and that he was with the Lord. And so my wife and I have no problem, our other sons have no problem with that fact, and that Troy is with Jesus and that he's okay now. But I'm building a job in Springfield, and so we were unloading the truck out on the highway, and it was my responsibility to flag at the end of the truck, flag the traffic. And so while I was flagging it, Troy worked for CenturyLink, and a CenturyLink truck had gone by, a ladder truck, and I said, "God, if that had been Troy, every time he went by the job site, he would stop and give me a hug." And I said, I could use a hug from Troy right now. And within a minute of praying that little prayer or that little conversation with God, a Springfield utility truck came into the alley, and a guy got out, and he had his hands up, and he come running toward me, and he said, "God told me to stop and give you a hug," and his name was Troy Ginrich, and he graduated with my son Troy, and I haven't seen him in 10 years, and I knew that God was allowing a different Troy, somebody with the same name, give me a hug, the same type of hug that Troy Moody would have given me. And that just that alone, seeing how much God cares and how much God loves. We're asking people to pray for the Montez family. Josh is still in jail. We're asking that the jail system finds mercy and grace as our family is for him. This was an accident. So that's Anisha and Josh and Mackenzie and Shaylee. And also pray for Brooklyn and Tyson, who is Troy's son and daughter, and for Christy, his wife. And the only other thing that Troy would want me to say is that he's in heaven, he's there, and he's waiting, and he wants everybody to know who Jesus is and come be there with him. Thank you.
I can only imagine what it will be